Yo, welcome to Nice and Blunt. Got an interesting slate of games today. It's Saturday. We got a doubleheader. Thought I would check in, give you a final update on, some start sit decisions. We got some interesting calls. So let us get into it. Let's see how this is going to go. All right. Welcome in, Vader. Nice to see you again, man. It's been a while. Good afternoon, Scott. I'm Coca-Cola on time for once. Nice to see you, man. Welcome in. And Vader with a question about how do we feel about Reed? Very legit question. I think he's a legit flex play. Let's first go quickly through the Eagles. We are starting all of the stud Eagles. I think Jalen Hurts, a lock in the lineup this week. Awesome matchup against Washington. Saquon should dominate as well. He's been playing better last few games, so definitely starting him. We also got A.J. Brown, who dominates in this matchup, an average of 22.9 points per game against the Commanders. He should go off this afternoon. Definitely start A.J. Brown. You're also starting Goddard after last week. Had an awesome game, and I think it'll continue. Great matchup, top 4 against Washington. But Philly, a good defense. I think they'll step up. I want them in my lineup. Excuse me. I want them in my lineup today. And I think Devontae Smith is the best flex play. Probably going to be in your lineup. Terry right behind him, also a legit flex. And then Chris Rodriguez, the only other player I would even consider flexing, just if you're desperate at running back. But then we got Mariota with some DFS potential, but bad matchup. I would bench him. I'm also going to bench Ben Sinnott, but I feel like his breakout could happen before the year's over. This week, we're not going to predict it, though. And then we're benching Debo this week. Don't like the matchup. Not excited. Bench Debo. Also going to bench JCM with Rodriguez healthy. Don't trust him. Commanders against the Eagles. Fuck that shit. Dotson never gets targets. Got to bench him. Shipley on the wire. Same with Bigsby. Daniels is inactive, and so is Ertz. So that is Philly and Washington. Not too many changes. Just wanted to remind you. One last second. Now let's move on to the Chicago and Green Bay game. And this one is actually very legit in terms of like having questions on. I have a bad feeling about Josh Jacobs. So let's just run through the slate real quick. I'll get back to the chat and answer your questions in just a second. We have Jacobs as a legit game time decision. Has not practiced at all this week. Reports say he wants to play. He really is pushing for it, and I think he will. So as long as he's active, I think you have to start him. If you have Jacobs, a touchdown's pretty much a guarantee. He plays through pain all the time. He's been really good. I would keep him in the lineup, but obviously you need to know for sure, and I'll give you the ranks at running back in a few minutes to make those decisions. But Jacobs, if he's active, should be started. Let's not bench him. DJ Moore, though, a lock in the lineup given the injuries to Ramadunze and Luther Burden. Got to start DJ Moore. I'm also locking in DeAndre Swift. I'm way more confident in Swift than Jacobs, to be honest. I think he's a great option, and I think he'll play just as well as last week. I think 20 points is not unreasonable to expect from Swift. But Watson, definitely the top target for Love. It looks like he's active, so I'm going to start him. I think he's a legit top 25 receiver. And then Colston Loveland, I've slowly come around over the course of the week, but with all the injuries, I think he's a top 10 tight end. I am telling you to start Colston Loveland tonight, and I posted my rankings yesterday at tight end. So check those out if you aren't sure, but we'll also pull those up in a couple minutes. Jordan Love, I think, is a very high-end flex play. Inside my top 13 at quarterback, I am telling you he's a fine start. Maybe you don't actually want to start Kirk Cousins instead of him, like I'm recommending. So I do think he's probably worth a flyer. Definitely a top 15 quarterback, in my opinion. But I am trusting Caleb this week, top 12. Also, I have them back-to-back. I actually prefer Caleb just above Jordan Love, and I would be starting both of them. I think they're decent this week. But Jaden Reed, a very interesting flex play. Hoping for some upside. I think he's worth it. I think a touchdown is imminent, and I think this game has some high-end shootout potential. So very risky. Sometimes the volume just isn't quite there, but I do like Jaden Reed tonight. I'm starting him in both of my leagues. I'm without Devontae Adams in one. I mean, I'm eliminated in both. I'll just be upfront. I got eliminated last week despite some high scores, but I am going to start Jaden Reed in place of Devontae Adams, and I think he's a very legit higher end flex play. Maybe not like top 25 receiver, not a lock, but a legit flex play with very high upside. When he goes off, he plays lights out. So I'm hoping for the best. I think it'll work out tonight. However, Kyle Monangai, pretty touchdown dependent, a bit more of a lower end flex play. I think this is the week where Swift is definitely the guy I trust. Monangai has been fading a little bit. And despite some upside, very touchdown dependent, I don't think it's worth it. Odds are I would bench him. But still in the flex conversation, I'd rather go Monangai than Chris Rodriguez, but they're not that far apart, both relying on touchdown production. Zacchaeus is actually kind of interesting. I think in DFS, he's actually very legit. However, do you really trust him in the semifinals? I doubt you're going to pick him up off the wire and trust him. I think in reality, the main guy who like could be elite this week is Emmanuel Wilson. Jacobs didn't practice at all. Jacobs did not do anything this week. And although he's pushing to play, that's not a guarantee at all. Even if he plays, he could be a bit of a decoy. I still expect a touchdown for Jacobs, but I would assume the touch split is closer to 50-50 this week between Wilson and Jacobs. So I think he's kind of in the same vein as Monangai, but obviously a bit more contingent, and it would feel crazy to start him if Jacobs is actually active. But then there's the scenario where Jacobs is ruled out, and in the last hour, I'd plug in Wilson. I would rank Wilson exactly where I rank Jacobs, which I will show you in literally 2 minutes. But I think Cole Kmet has some upside tonight. I think he's also going to step up at receiver. It's either him or Zacchaeus. I like Loveland, but I also think Kmet can contribute. Then we got Romeo Doubs, super touchdown dependent. I would fade him, not excited. And then Roma Dunze is out, so is Luther Burden. They're both injured. Golden not producing enough, but an interesting dark horse. I could see him pop off. He has like targets down the field that are valuable, but Wicks, nope. He's questionable. I think he plays, but not 100%. And then Musgrave needs a good matchup. This one isn't elite. And even in good spots, he's not that good, not that valuable. So just a floor play, probably too mediocre to trust. But I'm expecting a bit more of a shootout tonight. I'm going to bench both the Bears and the Packers. Not excited. I'm telling you to bench both of them. So that's it for this game. And I'm teased it. Let's run through my rankings because I haven't shown you like officially running backs or receivers yet. So let me pull that up. Let me get that going. And if you want, you can screenshot it while we're running through so you can keep it, but I will keep it up and like filter through as I answer the questions once I'm done with this. But in terms of this game, the players we are focusing on, I think Swift is a top 12 play. I have Swift on par with guys like Jonathan Taylor, Chase Brown, Bucky Irving, Travion with the lead upside. I have Swift right behind him, and I think he's more valuable than even Javonte Williams against the Chargers, RJ Harvey in a bad matchup. Kyron didn't work out. That looks like a good call now. But Henry, I do have behind DeAndre Swift. So absolutely, you have to start Swift. If you bench Swift, I think you're going to regret it. I think he's going to have an awesome game. So top 12 play, lock in the lineup. And then Jacobs is down at 17. I'm worried about Jacobs. I can't tell you that he's 100% healthy. Like, no one can say that. That's definitely a lie. However, I also believe he's going to score a touchdown. Like, it's just kind of a lock with Jacobs. So as long as he's healthy, that touchdown will cover you, but I'm not expecting 80+% of the touches. He'll be splitting time with Wilson, and that'll definitely cap his production. Very touchdown dependent, but I also just wouldn't bench him on name value in the fantasy playoffs. Jacobs has to be in your lineup. So top 20 running back, not top 12, but despite some lower projections, I'm still going to start Josh Jacobs. I'd start him over Rico Dowdle. I like Dowdle a lot this week, but I'd still go Jacobs. I also have some high hopes on Tony Pollard. I would still go Jacobs. And then I did tell you to start Kenneth Walker, and that was a good call. He had over 20 points. He had a great game on Thursday. But if you told me on Thursday you benched Walker for Jacobs, I think that made plenty of sense. I still think in reality we are not going to fade Jacobs too hard. So low end RB2, number 17 on the list, but perhaps you have the depth. Maybe you can keep him on the bench and get away with it. Maybe you have like Travion and Swift and Harvey. I guess that's a combination you could have realistically paired with Jacobs, where I would bench him. But I'm high on Judkins a little bit. The matchup's good. The offensive line is depleted, but he's a bit more of a flex play. Hampton's interesting. I'm high on Gainwell, but I'm also worried about Warren and the Lions defense, so he's more of a high-end flex. We got Aaron Jones and Tyrone Tracy also in the top 25. And then beyond that, I think it gets a bit gross. But this tier behind them includes Kyle Monangai and Emmanuel Wilson. They're both in this like RB30 range where like if you're desperate, fine. But they're not going to have elite upside. They are risky plays for sure. So good luck with them. I think odds are you'll bench him. But if you tell me Jacobs is inactive, I'm literally going to take Emmanuel Wilson and slide him right here. I would put Wilson right above Dowdle, right behind Derrick Henry. I would literally put him exactly where I have Josh Jacobs. He'll get more volume. He'll be less effective, but they will both score a touchdown. Whoever the starter is will get a touchdown with the Packers. That's going to be Jacobs. I assume he'll play. But in the scenario he doesn't, I would just slide in Emmanuel Wilson into the top 20, exactly where I rank Jacobs. So if you're deciding between Wilson and Pollard, if Jacobs doesn't play, I'd go Wilson, but it's very close between the two. So good luck there. Those are my running back rankings. That was a mistake. Those are my running back rankings. And now I'll show you receiver. I haven't showed you those yet this week. I've showed you them on Thursday, but now it's closer to kickoff. It's definitely more updated, and these are more accurate. I'll be posting a more in-depth video in the next 24 hours on both running back and receiver. So if you want more like nuanced decisions, check that out later. But it's almost kickoff. We got to show you some takes here just to set your lineup. So we are going to go with Christian Watson this week. I think he's a top 20 play. I have him as a low-end wide receiver 2, literally number 19 on the list. And touchdowns are usually a safe bet with Watson these days. So I like Watson quite a bit. We're going to start him. I think he'll score a touchdown. And then I also think Jayden Reed is a legit starter in my top 31 at the position. So you may have the depth or you just can't fit him in, but I think he's totally legit. I'm predicting a touchdown. I think he has upside this week, and I think that game is likely a shootout more than not. High scores from both sides. So I like Jayden Reed. The passing game for Green Bay is on display right now. And with Jacobs' injury, I think he needs to contribute a little more. He also runs the ball. Jayden Reed gets all-purpose yards every week. I trust his floor. I think he's bust-proof, but I think the upside's worth it. I'd still rather go Diggs. I think Godwin is a bit safer, to be honest. I prefer the production of Godwin a little bit more. And then Ladd gets such a good matchup, I think I would still prefer Ladd McConkey. But Terry is in a tough spot this week, and I genuinely think he's on the same tier as Jayden Reed. So just a few spots behind them. Maybe he's not going to fit, but I am telling you he's a legit flex. I like Jalen Coker and Troy Franklin a lot. I would have ranked Franklin much higher had Pat Bryant stayed out, but I'm going to keep Jayden Reed above Franklin. If you're watching Coker, he's scoring touchdowns last 2 games. I like Coker quite a bit, but Jayden Reed I still think has higher upside. I would go Jayden Reed above Jalen Coker. But the only receiver I'm starting for the Bears is DJ Moore, and he's inside my top 13. I think he has a great game. The touchdowns are hitting, the volume's there. Now that we know who the top guy is, it's clearly DJ Moore. I think he's obviously in your lineup. Definitely a top 15 receiver, in my opinion. But maybe you're considering Olamide Zaccheaus. He's a very low-end flex, definitely risky. And despite a decent matchup, I don't fear the Packers too much. Outside the top 40, odds are you'll bench him. It's more of a DFS play than like a lock in your lineup. But maybe you were going to start Luther Burden. Maybe you're in a tough spot. I think he's a decent fill-in if that's what you're stuck with. But maybe you can do better. I think you can get Jalen Coker easily off the wire. He's my favorite plug-and-play this week. Love Jalen Coker. I think he might actually be better than Tet this week. But I would still start Tet over Coker. Coker is more of a upside swing, similar to Jayden Reed and Troy Franklin. Expect a touchdown for all 3 of them, but without it, you might get burned. So here we go. And that's it at receiver. I've shown you quarterback, tight ends, and defenses yesterday, but let me just quickly remind you those 3 positions in case you haven't seen those yet. So these are my quarterback rankings. We are starting Caleb just outside the top 10, and then Jordan Love is right behind him. So we have Caleb at 12 right here, and Jordan Love at 13. I think they're both better than Dak. Dak gets a terrible matchup, and I am fading him. I was definitely wrong to fade Stafford, but there was a lot of red flags there. I don't regret. I regret it, but I wouldn't take it back. There was there was a lot of reasons to be worried about Stafford. He showed up. He's definitely worthy of that MVP conversation. But I do like Caleb a decent amount. I think he has a good floor, some upside, but at times he burns you. At times he's bad. So him and Jordan Love are like on the fence of like 20 to 16 points. I think they're both going to finish with like just shy of 20. I think they'll be good, but maybe not elite. They have the upside though where they could drop 30, and I wouldn't be shocked. Maybe we get a shootout. I hope so, but I think they're fine. Low end starters. But that's it at quarterback. Now we got the tight end position to mention. And Loveland is really the only one I'm interested in this week. I have Loveland in the top 10 with no Rome Odunze, no Luther Burden. He should step up. And I have him in multiple best ball formats where I'm alive in the semifinals. Let's hope for it. Let's hope it works out. Loveland, I think, is going to score a touchdown. As long as that happens, he's going to be great. I'm a bit worried about Cole Kmet, not going to lie. The Packers aren't a great matchup, and Kmet still factors in. But Kmet is definitely behind Loveland, and I think he's a top 10 play. I believe it's worth it this week. So let's shoot for upset. I think the touchdown will hit. I like Loveland quite a bit. But we are getting to the last position. A quick reminder on defense. And these are my positions. I'm benching every defense today except for the Eagles. The Eagles are the only ones I'm interested in. Let's put the Eagles in our lineup. Top 10, good unit, very strong. And despite a kind of tricky matchup, the Commanders sometimes show up. I think it's worth it. Let's stick with the Philadelphia Eagles in the top 10. Too talented, I think, to bench. Let's keep them in there. But I'll leave this up. We'll go back to the Eagles and Commanders start-sit graphic. And if there's questions coming in, maybe we'll showcase some other ones. But if you made it, if you're watching, hit that like button for me. It looks like, oh shit, we got 70 people watching. That might be the highest viewership concurrently I've ever had on a live stream. So thank y'all for tuning in. That's pretty cool. And yeah, hit the like button if you are enjoying this content. I would appreciate it. And let me get to your questions while I can. Supercharges likes the hat. Thank you, my friend. Let me get the live chat maybe up in the corner. Actually, I'll put it there, and then we'll just make this a bit smaller. There we go. Awesome. Don't worry, Coca-Cola. I got you. Nice to have you in on time. But Vader, Bacon Flakes is in here. Steve Raymond, welcome in, man. Nice to see you. Bacon Flakes starting Hurts. Opponent has Devontae Smith and Eagles defense. Good luck. I think Hurts is one of the best plays. So despite the correlation there, not ideal, but I think at the end of the day, you got to start the best players. Give yourself the highest chance to score the most points. Hurts, I think, is the second best quarterback this week. Superchargers, if Emmanuel Lewis starts, do I put him in the lineup over Dowdle? Bucky's my RB1. I assume you mean Emmanuel Wilson. But yes, I actually have Dowdle one spot behind where I would upgrade Emmanuel Wilson. I mentioned it in the broadcast, so maybe I already answered your question, but I would have Wilson one spot above Rico Dowdle if Jacobs doesn't play. If Wilson's the starter, he's my RB17. I would start him one spot above Dowdle. But, oh, Matumbo coming in with a super chat. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. I know you have Caleb Williams ranked higher than J.J. McCarthy, but I'm taking a chance on the Vikings against the Giants this week. My other quarterbacks are Jaden and Daniel Jones. Crushed me. Good luck, man. I mean, I love the matchup for McCarthy, but I'm just like on brand. I got to be a McCarthy hater. I've been a McCarthy hater all year. I think he's potentially going to play well. I definitely see some upside against the Giants, but good luck, man. I that scares the shit out of me, man. In the semifinals to trust JJ McCarthy, good luck with that. I get it, the matchup's good, but yikes. Good luck, man. I appreciate the donation. If you have a question, I'm happy to answer it, but thank you for the super chat, my friend. That's very kind of you. Appreciate it. Let me scroll back up. Levy is more worth starting over Jettas or Jennings. Definitely over Jettas, but I do think Juwan Jennings is also on the same level as DJ Moore this week. I have them both top 15. Start Jawan Jennings and DJ Moore over Justin Jefferson. Chris to the core, would you flex Hampton or Michael Wilson? We're going to flex Michael Wilson. I'm not worried about Harrison coming back. Birdman, bolt up, baby. Blessings to you too. Vader with the dub. Mads Jackson Knight. Good day. Is it stupid to start Michael Carter when I already have Trey McBride and Michael Wilson? That's a lot of Cardinals. Jordan Mason is the other option over Carter. I mean, I do rank Michael Carter over Jordan Mason, but this is a valid point in terms of like just correlating the same team in the NFL. Like they can't all score a touchdown. It's very unlikely that happens. It's possible, but it's really unlikely. So I have Mason in a similar tier to Michael Carter. I think because you're so correlated with Arizona, I'm fine going Mason. The matchup against the Giants is elite. The Falcons matchup is fine. Carter probably gets more volume, but not by like a landslide. He also doesn't do much with it. He's not effective. Meanwhile, Jordan Mason, I think, is very live to have like a house call touchdown. If you told me Mason scores from like 40 yards out this week, wouldn't be shocked at all. I like Aaron Jones, but I'm worried he gets vultured by Mason. I think Mason's legit. I think in your circumstance, despite my rankings, like I'm going to pull them up real fast. At running back, I do have Mason 5 spots behind Carter. I have him 4 spots. So Carter, I have it like 35. Meanwhile, Mason, I have it 40. So I can understand sticking with the rankings because he is a starter after all. Mason's a backup. But in your circumstance, I'm fine going with the backup. Like I struggled to rank Jones vehemently well above Jordan Mason. I think Mason could actually play very well. So I think that's fine. Great matchup for Mason. You know what? Let's do it. Let's endorse that. Let's go with it. I like Jordan Mason over Michael Carter. I hate the Cardinals running back. They never play well. They always play like shit. Good luck, man. Good luck. But Tyler Sperry with a donation as well. Thank you, my man. Resort, Devontae Smith, Loveland, or Schultz. I'm up 40. Resort. I imagine that's a typo for something, but I can't imagine that's a player. So I'm just going to go with Devontae Smith, Loveland, or Schultz. Let's go Loveland. I think Devontae's more of a floor play. Loveland, I think, is more likely to score a touchdown. I like Jalen Hurts a lot this week, but I don't trust him to get the ball to Devontae Smith. I like Goddard a lot. I like A.J. Brown a lot. I think Devontae Smith could get left out. Meanwhile, Loveland, I think, has higher upside, and I think he'll be much more involved in that offense this week. Got it. Okay, Jaden Reed or Devontae Smith. Gotcha. Okay. You didn't have to appreciate the donation, man. Really appreciate it. At receiver, I'm going to go Devontae Smith. I'm going to go Devontae at receiver. However, at tight end, we're going to go Loveland over Schultz. These are my receiver rankings. I do have Devontae in the top 25. I have Jaden Reed just outside the top 30. Let's go with Devontae Smith over Jaden Reed. I think I trust him a little bit more than Jaden Reed. At tight end, though, I definitely trust Loveland this week. Bad matchup for Schultz. He's not far behind Loveland, but I do have Loveland ranked higher. These are my tight end rankings on the screen now. And Loveland, I have 6 spots above Dalton Schultz. So those are my 2 picks. We're going with Devontae Smith over Jaden Reed and then Loveland over Schultz. Thank you for the donation, my friend. I really appreciate it. And good luck to you this week. But scrolling back up, we got Who Hames in here. Welcome. Who Hames has a good channel. Y'all should check out Who Hames. You get some good DFS live streams. I sometimes pop in. It's fun to draft with Who Hames. But A+, how about that Jason Myers? Oh, my God. Dude. That's set. That's so unfortunate. That's so crazy that the best kicker in fantasy drops 2 points and they go for 2 like 3 fucking times. That shit was crazy, man. Like, at least give me the extra point. Those 3 points are valuable. But 3 2-point conversions, that shit was annoying. That was wild. It was sad to see it, man. I'm sorry. Bummer, bro. But Sam Tagazeta, half PPR, Manungai, or Ibuka. We're going to go Ibuka there. Close call. But I agree with Vader on this. I'm gonna go Igbuka over Manungai. Let's go Bolts, baby. I'm seeing more Bolts hats, more Bolts fans as I go out in public sometimes. Just I went to the dispensary the other day and the security guard had a Chargers hat on. We bonded. I was never at that dispensary before, and it feels nice to have the security guard know that he has your back when you pull up to the dispensary. Like it's very unlikely anything's gonna happen, but it just you feel more legit when you are on good terms with the dispensary security guard. That was nice. But Luis has a question you can answer after your broadcast. Here is my question. Should I start Purdy or Stroud? My opponent has CMC. I figure if CMC gets a receiving touchdown, I get points too. I'm going Purdy over Stroud. I think Purdy's more valuable than Stroud. I have Purdy in the top 9. I have Stroud one spot behind him. So it is close. I understand the question. I have them very close together. But if not for the Colts matchup, I think Purdy could be top 5. I think Purdy's definitely the play. I like Purdy a lot. Also, you have the Christian McCaffrey stack. I'd go in that direction. He also has Woody Marks. I have Stroud. Woody possibly doesn't play. No correlation there. I think I would move off of the correlation. I know like it factors in a little bit, but to be honest, I just want the best player with the highest score. I want to give myself the best chance, even if it pairs up with my opponent. That's just the name of the game. Sometimes it is that way. I think Purdy's the better play. I would start Purdy over Stroud. But how close is the difference between May and Purdy? It's very close, man. I mean, if May didn't have a better track record this year, then I may not like feel compelled to stick with him. But then that Ravens matchup could also be like really high scoring. Meanwhile, the Colts game, they muddy up the waters. They make that game low scoring. They're going to dominate time of possession if they can. And the Colts actually have a great red zone offense. It's actually tough to score touchdowns on the Colts. It's easy to move the ball, but they force a lot of field goals. Just ask the Seahawks last week. So it's very close, but I think May will give you more rushing stats, and that's ultimately why I have him higher. I think they're both giving you 20 to 22 points. Like that's my projection, about 21 and a half, like that. Just above 20. But if you have a gut feeling on one over the other, then go ahead with Purdy over May. But I think I prefer May just barely because I think he can run the ball a little more. Those rushing stats I think are more valuable. Who Hames also got some Loveland alive this week. I think he's going to play pretty with the injuries to the receivers. I think it's kind of locked in now. I think he's worth starting. Should be a good play. Vader going to start Purdy this week on the fence with May. Definitely understand that. Definitely a bit tricky. But I like May just barely over Purdy. Yes, indeed. Hit that like if you haven't already. Would appreciate it. And gracias. Thank you for reiterating the message. Appreciate it, everyone. Dustin Stone. Hello, sir. If Jacobs does sit, would you start Wilson over Henderson or T. Higgins? No, I would not start Emmanuel Wilson over Travion Henderson. And then I think T. Higgins is ultimately on equal footing. I think T. Higgins, I'm still not convinced plays. That I think is a legit question. Because T. Higgins is still in the concussion protocol. He was full yesterday in practice. I would assume he plays, but concussion protocols are non-linear. Anything can happen. I don't think it's a lock he's activated. So you know what? If Jacobs does sit, then while I would not bench Travion for Wilson, I do think I would bench T. Higgins. Because the thing about Wilson, I would definitely trust him to score a touchdown. With T. Higgins, that's what you would expect as well. But then there's the risk that you get nothing with T. Higgins because he doesn't play. Also, the Dolphins are a tough matchup. The Bengals are playing weird. I know the volume will be there for Wilson. So over T. Higgins, yes. But I would not put him over Travion. Travion has that 30-point upside. I can't bench him for Travion. Let me go back to running back rankings just to show you where I have Travion. I have Travion in the top 11. I would have Wilson at 19. Actually, 17. I'd have him 6 spots behind Travion. So over T. Higgins, yes. Just for the safety net, yes. But Jacobs has to be ruled out. So make sure that happens first. Superchargers, thanks for the great content. Really like the injury report too. Appreciate it, man. I try and I feel like I'm very proud of the injury report videos. I feel like that, and I've learned ideally you just want the information. Like on that video alone, I feel like that's where I need to shut my mouth in terms of like my commentary. Just give you the facts, who's in, who's out, let you have that info, and then if you're interested in my opinion later, check it out on another video. But thanks, man. Appreciate it. No worries, Supercharger. I know who you're talking about. There's no Emmanuel Lewis is like a defender on. Isn't that like a Bears defender if I'm not mistaken? No, I'm thinking of Tremaine Edmonds. Dark as Night says Michael Wilson or RJ Harvey for the flex. We're going to go Michael Wilson. RJ Harvey gets a really tough matchup, and Wilson I don't think is going to fade. I like Michael Wilson still quite a lot. Yeah, I know there's someone named Emmanuel Lewis. I'm going to Google it right now. I'm like, that person does exist. Looks like a Andy Milanakis situation going on. The person that Google just showed me is 54 years old and looks like they're 14. Some wild shit going on here. Good for him though. Oh, okay, he's an actor from the 70s maybe. There's pictures with him and Michael Jackson. Got it. Okay. Yeah, you know what? Start him in your lineup. Put him in your lineup. He looks like he can burst through the A gap at 54 years old. Nice. Noah Rivera says Myers burned me with only 2 points. Should I play McLaurin or Coker? Let's go Coker for some upside, but Terry I do rank higher. I got them close together, but I think Coker's a bit safer for a touchdown. The matchup's tough for Terry. If you need the upside, maybe go Coker because they're pretty close. Best ball on call. Thank you very much for stopping in. Thank you for the algorithm bump. Rick says Terry or Waddle. Ooh, that one's really close, but Terry or Waddle? Shit. I got to remind myself. We're going Waddle. I have him 3 spots over Terry. It's super close, but I think I'm willing to trust Quinn Ewers to get him the ball. You know the ball's going to go in his direction. So let's go Waddle, but it's super close. I'm just a bit worried about that Eagles matchup. Not going to lie. Vader says Mason gets more touchdowns. Yeah, that was my thinking on that Mason question earlier. The touchdown and that matchup is pretty juicy, but oh shit. I apologize, Eric. I just saw your super chat. I apologize if you've been waiting. Pick 2 for Sunday: ETN, Bucky, Sutton, and Harrison. That's close, man. That's really tough. Is this full PPR or half PPR? I'm going to assume it's half PPR. That's what the channel's intended for. But let me know if it's full PPR. That might change my opinion. This is tough. At least at receiver here, I do have Sutton ranked well above Harrison. So I think we're going to bench Harrison coming off the injury. I think that's the move. And then... Oh, pick 3? Oh, if we just have to pick 3, then it's definitely easier. We're going ETN and Bucky for sure, and then Sutton. I think the player I'm a bit worried about between the 3 is probably ETN. However, Bucky has been getting vultured, so maybe I should be more worried about him. ETN gets a ton of volume. I think ETN's the lock. Definitely start ETN and Sutton. And I think if you have 3, go with Bucky. I think I'm going to start ETN, Bucky, and Sutton. Given the injury status of Harrison coming back, I think that's the guy I would bench of the 3. But thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. And then Precision Building with another super chat. Need 2 receivers. We got Egbuka, Godwin, Worthy, or Coker. We're going to bench Worthy with Gardner Minshew. I know Rice is out, but Worthy has not really proven much this year. And I don't really want to bet on Gardner Minshew despite the Titans matchup. So not going to start Worthy. And I think I trust Godwin and Coker the most. These are the ranks here. I got Igbuka a tier below Coker, 4 spots behind him. Meanwhile, I have Coker 4 spots behind Godwin. So those are my two. I'm going Godwin and Coker. I like Coker a lot this week. I like Coker a lot. Quite a lot. But yeah, start Coker and Godwin. Yes, I fully agree with this, Who Hames. All the Cardinals running backs are dog shit except James Conner. And then we've also never seen Trey Benson have like more than 4 quarters as the guy. Trey Benson is still like Bigfoot. Like he's still just a mirage waiting for it to happen. But at least he's been active more than Marshawn Lloyd. Him and Marshawn Lloyd, I had high hopes for 2 years ago out of that draft class, and we still have not seen shit. But Vader says the hype with Cardinals running backs this year was crazy. And Tootin, I had some high hopes for. I was on board with Tootin. I gotta admit, I was a Tootin believer for quite some time. I thought that ETN was washed. Best ball on call knows who Hames got a good channel. Rajan says, "Hey, saw your new quarterback rankings, and you have T-Law higher than Purdy. I was gonna start Purdy now, but now I'm in doubt. The thing about the Colts is that they don't give up many touchdowns. That's the only problem with the Colts. The Niners offense should still be awesome, but I do trust Trevor Lawrence a lot after last week. I think that game is likely a shootout. He's playing lights out. So I think it's very close. I give the edge to T-Law, but not by much. I would trust your gut because I like both of them. But just based on the matchup stats alone, it is going to be a bit tougher against the Colts, in my opinion, than the Broncos. I know that sounds counterintuitive because the Broncos have been awesome this year, but they've been worse in the last like 6 weeks. Once Pat Surtain got hurt, their defense isn't the same. And then since he's come back, they're actually not as good either. Like in the last 4 weeks, the Denver Broncos have given up the 13th most fantasy points to quarterbacks. Meanwhile, the Indianapolis Colts have allowed the 22nd most fantasy points. So the matchup in the last month has been easier against Denver than it is against Indianapolis. You might not expect that, but that's what the stats are saying. And I also believe that Jags game is going to be high scoring. I think it will be a legit shootout between the two. The Niners game, I trust the Niners offense a lot. So Purdy's definitely still top 10. I'm not telling you Purdy's going to be bad, but I genuinely think Lawrence has showcased more upside and shown you that the floor is also just as valuable. So the matchup, because I'm looking into those stats, I think is actually fine for Lawrence. And after last week, I think he's earned to be ranked higher. But they're very close. It's only like 4 spots. So both in the top 10. I'm still telling you to start both. If you want to go with Purdy, if that's what your gut is telling you, then trust your gut, man. Your team. Do what you want. Tiago says full PPR. I know I'm starting Michael Wilson and Tet. I like them. They should be good this week. I endorse that. Tiago says I have Myers, Wandale, and Ladd, and Emmanuel Wilson for a flex spot. Who would you go with? We're going to go Jacoby Myers. I'm benching Wandale. Hate the matchup against the Vikings. That's going to be bad. Ladd is very tempting because it's the Cowboys, but it's still the Chargers offense, and that shit's so random. You never know what'll happen. Like, Ladd could have 12 targets. He could have 4 targets. He could score 3 touchdowns. He could have less than 30 yards. Like, Ladd has such a wide variance of outcomes. I'd rather go Myers than Ladd. So your only decision, in my opinion, is Myers versus Emmanuel Wilson. And if you tell me Jacobs is out tonight, then yes, I would go Wilson over Myers. But at the moment, I assume Jacobs will play. I would go Myers in that scenario. So Myers is my preference. Wilson, contingently put him in, but odds are you'll bench him. And then bench Wandale and Ladd, absolutely, for Myers. Yes, in the 8 Webster. That's the picture I saw on Emmanuel Wilson. I assume that was like a movie or something, but okay. TV show with Alex Karras. I don't know who that is. AKA Darren Sproles. Eric Joaquim with another super chat. Appreciate you, man. Herbert or Baker this week? 4-point passing touchdown per league. Shit. That's tough, bro. So here's why I'm worried about Baker. Let me read off his last 3 games. His last 4 against Carolina. So last year, in the last matchup, he fucking owned the Carolina Panthers. Here, I'll put a circle on Baker so you know I'm talking about him. Baker had 359 yards and 5 touchdowns on Carolina. That's 34 points. So that one game alone is like, yeah, I definitely want Baker against Carolina. He plays well in this spot. But then you look at the 3 games before that, and they're ass. 235 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. The game before that, 137 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And then the game before that, 202 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So there's only one great game for Baker against Carolina. Otherwise, he plays like dog shit. In those 3 bad games, he's averaging 8.9. And then in that one good game, he has 34 points. So in the last 4, he's averaging 15.2. And usually it is terrible. So I don't feel great about it. And then Herbert gets an awesome matchup, but then Herbert's playing like shit right now. So that's tricky. I think I would go Baker. I think I would rather go Baker because, like, even though the Bucks can afford to lose this game and still make the playoffs, they definitely want to win. They can eliminate the Panthers basically if they win. So I think they're going to be motivated. I think Baker will play well. I think the defense for the Bucks isn't going to step up, and that game will be similar to the week before where Baker throws touchdowns. So I think he'll be fine. I'm going to go Baker, but it's super close. I understand upgrading Herbert this week, but I don't think I can do it because he just hasn't been very effective in fantasy last couple games. I think the run game for the Chargers will be more effective than Herbert, but I could see myself being wrong. Herbert was very tough to rank because I wanted to put him like where I have Stroud. I wanted Herbert in the top 10, but then you really think about him and his injury, and it's like, shit, I don't know about that. So good luck, man. I think I'm going to go Baker. I think I trust Baker a little bit more, despite a much tougher matchup. But good luck, bro. Good luck with that. G Medina says full PPR lineup. RB1 is Jacobs. RB2 is Javonte. Wide receiver 1 is St. Brown. Wide receiver 2 is Flowers. Who do I flex? Dowdle, Juwan Jennings, Marks, or Swift? Personally, bro, I would put in Swift over Jacobs and Javonte. I like Swift a lot this week. I want him in the lineup. And then I also really like Juwan Jennings this week because Ricky Pearsall is out and the matchup's good against the Colts. The Colts give up a ton of yards, not many touchdowns, but especially to receivers, they play very well. And Pearsall, I don't think is going to play. So I want Juwan Jennings in this lineup. I also want DeAndre Swift in this lineup. And personally, I have Swift above both Javonte and Jacobs. So to be honest with you, my personal rankings have Jacobs as the flex and Swift as the RB1. However, because of the like injury status that's going on with Jacobs, I think that's a little up in the air. I might just go Jennings for the safety net. But if Jacobs is active, then I'm definitely going to start Jacobs. So I think I have Juwan over Zay Flowers as well. I do. I have Juwan Jennings at 15. I have Zay Flowers at 18. Personally, the lineup I would go with is DeAndre Swift and Javonte, Amon-Ra and Juwan Jennings. And then in the flex, I would go Josh Jacobs if he's healthy. And if he's not, I would go Zay Flowers. That's what I would do. But to answer your specific question, if you don't want to change your lineup, then in the flex, my preference would be DeAndre Swift. But I genuinely think you should bench Flowers for Juwan Jennings and also bench Jacobs for DeAndre Swift. That's my take on it. Good luck, man. Good luck. Thanks for the donation as well. Egbuka or Reed, asks Ruben Vega. We're going to go Jade and Reed. I don't trust Egbuka very much. And thanks for the compliment, man. I appreciate you. The thing about Igbuka is it's even more crowded in Tampa Bay there. As someone who has had Igbuka in my lineup all season, he scares the shit out of me. Last week he had 64 yards, but had some drops. He left some on the table. I don't feel great about Igbuka. I'm going to go Jaden Reed over Igbuka. I got him ranked at 31, and then Igbuka I have at 36. So 6 spots above. Give me Reed over Igbuka. Appreciate you, man. And then Christian Rodriguez, thank you for the donation. Full PPR, we got Watson, Judkins, or Hampton. We're going to pick 2. We're going to bench Hampton. I'm going to start Watson, especially in full PPR. Let's go with the receiver there. And then in terms of running back rankings, I have them super close. I have Judkins 1 spot over Hampton, literally back-to-back, and I prefer Judkins. The volume I trust a little bit more for Judkins. And then the Bills matchup is awesome. So he doesn't have to split time with Kamani Vidal, unlike Hampton. That's why I'm going to go Judkins over Hampton. But super close, very, very tough decision. But I think in full PPR, I will bench Omarion Hampton of the 3. Yo, Michael Jackson, feel like obviously there's a lot of controversy, but this is going to be a weird take. This is as I'm thinking about it, I'm already like, oh, this actually sounds really controversial. But if you could swap lives with anyone, you know what I mean? I don't want any of the child abuse allegations. I don't want to experience any of that. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying I want any of that. But of all the peoples you could ever swap lives with and get a really unique experience, Michael Jackson has to have one of the most unique lives ever lived. You know what I mean? That's the only point I'm trying to make. I don't want any other part of Michael Jackson's experience. I'm going to move on because this was totally unprompted and I regret where this path is going. But the point I'm making is Michael Jackson has a very, very unique life. Would have been interesting to experience that. Silverdale Swills, do you ever consider player bonuses incentives for performance while ranking? No. During the rankings, no, I don't do that. But I think when you play, you should have that 100-yard bonus. I think it's very fun to have. I regret the Michael Jackson thing. Why the fuck did I say that? Eric says, thanks, you're welcome. Dark as Night, thank you. Hopefully I made the right choice. I sat Stafford for Lawrence this week. I understand that, man. Stafford scared me on Thursday. He played lights out, but he scared me quite a bit. With no Adams, it was worrisome. Levon says Godwin, Coker, or Allen. We're going to go Godwin, but it's super close. I think Coker could be a great play. Coker's right behind him, man, but give me Godwin. Eric Joaquim, you're welcome, man. Appreciate the donation, man. That's very kind of you. Daniel Hovland says Ladd, Pickens, Sutton, and JMO. Which one do I sit? Ladd, Pickens, Sutton, and JMO. I think we're benching Ladd McConkey. I think it's too crowded and unpredictable in LA. I think I would be benching Ladd McConkey. I want Sutton in the lineup. He's definitely a good play. I think I want JMO in the lineup. Those two are locks. Those two are top 12. And then Pickens, I think I trust more than Ladd. Despite some weird vibes with Pickens, I think I'd still go Pickens over Ladd. Also coming in with a super chat. Thank you, my man. Sorry I missed it in time. Sometimes they do not flash. Some of them flash. It's weird. YouTube doesn't always display every single one right in my face. Sorry, I might have taken a minute to answer this, but yeah, the one I'm sitting here is Ladd. Go with JMO and Sutton 100%, and then I think I trust Pickens still a bit more. But can we trust Pickens this week? That's a very legit question. I mean, he's not in my top 20. That's a big fall from where he used to be, but I still think you have to start him. I still think so. Albie thinks my streams are just okay. Thanks, man. the moderator coming in with the to keep me humbled. Flex 2, Watson, Carter, Pierce, BTJ, and Travion. We need two of these. Watson, Carter, Pierce, BTJ, and Travion. I'm not going to bench Travion. I think you have to start Travion. I'm not going to start Michael Carter. I'm not going to start Alec Pierce. It's between Brian Thomas Jr. and Christian Watson, and I have them super close. If Thomas wasn't facing Pat Surtain, I would go Thomas 100%, but he does get Pat Surtain. We're going to go Watson and Travion. Those are my two. Let's avoid Pat Surtain. That feels like the wise choice. I'll go Watson and Travion. But we answered this question already. Jaws has Caleb well over Herbert half hand. That Dallas pass D has me wishful thinking that O-line got better for the Chargers. I don't think the offensive line got better, man. They're still banged up like crazy. Yeah, I'm going to go Caleb there. I don't think I trust Herbert enough to throw the ball at a high rate. They're going to hand it off too much. Don't trust the passing volume. I'm going to go Caleb over Herbert. But that one Lego kid with crickets. Did I miss something? Sorry, man, if I kept you waiting. Sorry, man. Jaws has petting zoo in the works for sure. This one goes over my head. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Luis says, "How are the Eagles defense doing?" Because I started them. Peace out. Gonna watch some football. I think they're gonna be fine. I think they're gonna be okay. Good luck, man. And I'm probably gonna log off too very soon. But Daniel Hovland, thanks, man. You're welcome. And then Albie says, "I'd like it. Gracias, muchacho." I know you're joking, man. Thanks for tuning in. Watson's playing. I think he's playing. Yeah, everything I've read sounds like he's likely to suit up. Jacobs is the game time decision. That is the big up in the air status in Green Bay. Okay, yeah. There's definitely aspects of Michael Jackson I have no interest in of experience. But all right, so finally caught up. And with that in mind, I'm going to do a quick DFS draft before we're done. But I guess I'll leave this up while we are waiting. And let me pull that up separately. And we'll do one DFS draft, maybe like a $3 one. We'll do probably the Wildcat if it's still open. I assume it's open. That's like my favorite one to do. For $3, 6-person draft, you can typically get whoever you want. There's definitely like some strategies I like to implement, but yeah, let's do that. Okay. All right. So, we are here in the drafts tab. We're going to hit NFL. There's the $5 primetime playbook. That might be interesting. Only Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football, the Ravens and Patriots game, along with the Niners and Colts game. So maybe I'll do that one too. But I think we're going to scroll over here to the Wildcat. This has yet to fill. We're about 50%. I'm sure it'll fill before Sunday kickoff, but who knows? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe we get lucky. And our goal is to finish in the top 3,000. That's how you double your money, a minimum of $6 as a payout if you finish in the top 3,000. Then really you're trying to move up into the top 100. If you finish top 100, then you can make $100. That's really where it piques my interest, but I would be fine with $50. That'd be okay too. Where it'd be nice if we can finish top 10, then we're looking at 800 plus. If we finish top 3, we get 2K. First prize gets 8,000. That's what we're shooting for. Let's hop in. $3 Wildcat. If you want to join me, hit that button now alongside me. 3 spots open. If you want one, come get it. But obviously, if you just want to spectate, nothing wrong with that either. Obviously, I will be winning this. That's the mentality we have. So if you just want second, then hop in with me. But most of the time, I do not win these. Most of the time, I lose money. Um, we'll just keep it real. But they're fun. I did win one of these earlier in the season. That Thursday night game, but where the or maybe it was a Sunday night game. I think it was Sunday night when the Commanders played the Seahawks. I finished in 7th and took on $150 in one of these tournaments. It was a $5 primetime playbook, and for $5 I did win 150 coming in 7th. But looks like we got Albie in here. He's at pick 6. If anybody else is in here with me, let me know in the chat. But looks like Pete Talent is asking Watson, Tet, or Harrison in the flex. I think we're going to go Watson. I trust Watson to score touchdowns, and I think that upside's pretty high this week. I like Christian Watson the most of the three, but let me verify. Let me make sure real quick. I think that's how I feel. But let me show you my receiver rankings real fast. We have Christian Watson at 19. We have Tetero McMillan at 25. So yes, I am going Christian Watson over Tet McMillan. Team 1 took Bucky Irving. Don't see that too often. We're going to go Bijan for sure. Bijan is the pick at pick 3. Bucky has an awesome matchup, but a little worried about someone like whatchamacallit, Sean Tucker. But Daniel Hovland, is this you in the first pick? Did you go Bucky Irving? Are you Nacho Daddy? I like the upside, but personally, I don't know if I could pass on Gibbs, bro. Gibbs at the 101 has the highest upside imaginable. But I will acknowledge your if you took Bucky here, Bucky fucking owned them last season. Bucky, it is you. Okay, so here's where I don't think you're crazy, but personally, I would still go Gibbs. Last season, Bucky fucking owned the Carolina Panthers. He had 188 yards per game in 2 matchups against the Carolina Panthers last season. In one game, he had 113 on the ground, another 77 in the passing game, so 190 yards in that game. And then the game after that, in the rematch, he had 152 yards on the ground and 33 in the passing game. He did fucking dominate Carolina last year. That matchup's also top 4 at the moment, so that's not a terrible call, but I think you could have maybe gotten him in the second round. Based on the ADP, if you were like at pick 5, he probably would have been available with your second pick. But I understand it. He wouldn't have come back around. You want your guy, go for it, man. You do you. I think I'm going to go Mike Evans here. I'm really high on Evans. He should crush. He also dominates the Panthers as well. Evans is averaging 19.3 points per game in his last 4 against Carolina. Superchargers, none of these guys are reliable. Unfortunately, whoever's healthiest, I imagine that's in regards to this question. I would go Watson. Back to P Talent's question. I would go Watson, personally. But Nacho Daddy back on the clock. And Albie goes James Cook and Trey McBride. For McBride to make it to you there at pick 7, that's awesome. The thing about this league, if you get the 6th pick, I do think that there's like exactly like 7 or 8 players that are like really good in this, and to get 2 of them is super valuable. So good for you, man. But Nacho Daddy goes Josh Allen and Jameson Williams. Jamo's a good pick. I thought about Jamo as well, but personally I have Evans ranked slightly higher. Mark Twain says, sup, boss? Who would you flex in PPR? Pollard, Addison, Loveland, or Franklin? Tempting to go Loveland in full PPR there, but I do like Pollard a lot. That's very close, actually. Let me make this pick and then think about it a little more. Shit. I think I'm going to go London here. Yeah, I think I'm going to go London. We got Bijan, so we can set up another Falcons stack. If Pitts comes back around, then we'll go with Cousins at quarterback, and we'll just go with an Atlanta stack. I do like that a bit. But back to your question, Mark Twain, we got Pollard, Addison, Loveland, or Franklin. I wish this was half PPR because then I would definitely go Pollard. But in full PPR, I kind of want to give you Loveland here. Franklin is tempting, but with Pat Bryant coming back to the lineup, I'm a bit worried about it. The Jags matchup is good, but I think I prefer Loveland over Franklin this week. And then Addison, I'm not going to trust, despite the Giants game. I'm not going to bet on McCarthy when you have these other options. So 100% benching Addison. I think I'm also benching Franklin. And then for me, it's just between Loveland and Pollard. I kind of want to go Pollard, man. Pollard's on a fucking tear. Pollard has back-to-back games with over 100 yards on the ground and multiple touchdowns in the last couple games. Like, Pollard's playing lights out. And I think they step up against the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs might roll over. I kind of want to say Pollard, but because it's full PPR and he doesn't catch many passes, I think I'll go Loveland. I trust Loveland to score a touchdown. So if you get 100 yards from Pollard and no touchdown, I think Loveland will be a better play. But it's really close. I don't think it's crazy to go Pollard there. But I think I'm going to go Loveland just because it's full PPR. Super close, man. Good luck. Damn, Pitts goes. We almost got Kyle Pitts to come back. That would have been cool. I do like Metcalf here. I think Metcalf has an awesome matchup, so that's pretty tempting. Going 3 receivers is also not bad. But Dexter with a super chat. Standard League flex Watson, Reed, Michael Carter. We're going to go Christian Watson. Fuck Michael Carter. I'm not going to start him. Shit. I'll go DK Metcalf. I have him and Sutton ranked back-to-back. I actually have Metcalf one spot higher. So I'll just stick to my rankings here and go with the best receiver in my opinion. But yeah, back to your question, Dexter. I don't trust Michael Carter at all. And then Jaden Reed is valuable, but not as valuable as Watson as long as Watson plays and is healthy. I would go Watson over Jaden Reed. Ruben Vega, also with another super chat. Thank you, man. Y'all have been killing it with the super chats today. I really, really appreciate it. That's awesome. But your question is Worthy or Reed or Igbuka. Forgot to ask you this on my last comment. Thanks, bro. I don't trust Worthy, man. With Minshew, even without Rashee Rice, I'm just not feeling it with Worthy. Good matchup for him. It's not scary, but like, shit, you really trust him? I don't think that's a safe play at all. And then Egbuka versus Jaden Reed. I think I'm going to go Jaden Reed. It's very close, but I think I prefer Jaden Reed just a little bit. Okay, I need a tight end on this team. I think I'm going to go Fannin because look at these fucking stats for Fannin. Last week, 14 targets, 7 catches, 48 yards. Another 2 on the ground, so 15 opportunities. Only 50 total yards, but damn. And then the week before that, 11 targets, 8 catches, 114 yards, and a touchdown. Fannin is killing it. I'm going to go Harold Fannin. The volume is just so good. I know I'm getting points with Fannin. He's a very good play. But, yeah, man, I'm worried about Reed. I don't think it's like a safe play, but honestly, Egbuka scares me more, and he's in more of a rotation there. I'm going to go with Jaden Reed over Egbuka to finalize your question here, Ruben. I'm definitely benching Worthy. I don't trust him, even with no Rashee Rice. And then Egbuka in such a big committee, I think I trust Jaden Reed a bit more. He needs to step up this week. I think he will. I'm going to go Jaden Reed there. Good luck. Daniel says, should I play JJ or Jackson Dart tomorrow? My only options. I'm going to go JJ McCarthy. The Vikings are the toughest matchup. I know Jackson Dart can run it, but watch him get hurt and exit the game early with a concussion. I'm going to be benching Jackson Dart there for JJ McCarthy. Joe Kingsley says, if Josh Jacobs is out, should I start Emmanuel Wilson at the flex over Jacoby Myers in full PPR? I think so. That Broncos matchup's a bit tough. Myers is a little touchdown dependent when you really think about it. Last week was okay, but I would really trust Emmanuel Wilson to find the end zone, and I think he would be a more reliable, safer play. The volume would just be so high. I do believe um, Emmanuel Wilson is better than Myers if Jacobs doesn't play. But with my last pick, I'm going to go Kirk Cousins. We're going to complete the double stack in Atlanta. We have Bijan Robinson, Drake London, and Kirk Cousins. Bijan catches passes, so that does work out. Hopefully Kyle Pitts doesn't go nuclear. If London's active, I think that's a worthwhile start. A good pick, in my opinion, in the third round. But Metcalf against the Lions, that matchup's awesome. I think he'll play really well. And then we have Evans, who I think should dominate. He plays awesome against the Panthers, and last week had over 100 yards, had like 13 targets, so that'll probably repeat. Fannin getting a shit ton of volume. I think he's a dope play. Very good pick in my view. And we got the stack with Atlanta against Arizona. That defense sucks. I like this team quite a bit. We got a good stack going, in my opinion. Cousins, definitely low rostered, so at least it's unique. Definitely risky, but at least it's unique, and I think the floor is fine. And then correlated well with London and Bijan. If those guys go off, especially with receiving touchdowns for Bijan, then Cousins is going to dominate. I like this lineup a lot, to be honest here. But Dexter says, thanks, bro. You're welcome, man. Good luck. I hope it works out. I think Watson will play well. I think he'll score a touchdown. But Mark Twain says, preparing for the worst, but hoping for the best with Jacobs and no Wilson. I hope Jacobs plays, and I hope he stays healthy the whole game. I'm like worried that he would aggravate something, you know? That's a little bit risky, but I think he'll suit up. I think given who they're facing, what the game means, I think he'll be good. I think he'll be fine. But Joe says follow-up of if Jacobs is out, what should I do for RB2 and the flex? I have Emmanuel Wilson, RJ Harvey, and Jacoby Myers. I would still go RJ Harvey, but I would go Emmanuel Wilson over Myers. That's my stance on it. RJ Harvey, I still think is a stud. Even against the Jags, I would still keep him in the lineup. That's how I would go about it. But, oh, the game is on. I'm realizing now the game has been on for like 30 minutes. It's on Fox? Okay. Got it. I need to pull that up. I don't know if any of you guys are in the same boat as I am, but I haven't had cable in like 6 years. I don't use cable. I just stream on the platforms. I'm not ashamed to admit this at all, because in my opinion, this is something worth bragging about. I don't pay for cable, but I get to watch every game. I use my, like, my mom pays for cable at her house. I don't live with my mom, but she has cable, and I got her, like, account information. I logged into every fucking website on every single channel, like whether it's Fox.com, ESPN.com, CBS.com, NBC.com. I get to watch all of their live streams just because I logged in with my mom's fucking cable account. It's the only reason I want any live TV. It's for sports. And it's dope not to have to pay for it. But I am mooching off my mom. I'm not ashamed to admit that at all. Because fuck them. $150 for like a month of shit I'm not even going to watch. Like, the only thing I want is sports. That's the only fucking reason to have cable. If somebody else in my family pays for it, it's like Netflix. Why the fuck would you have 4 individual Netflix accounts when everyone just shares the same one? You pass around the password and you don't pay multiple times. Fuck that shit. She lives in a completely different zip code, but I have all of her access. I just go to Fox.com, watch live. And what's crazy is if you watch it on their website, they don't even give you the commercials half the time. They give you this like weird, like ominous, like silent logo. And it's like, it's so much more pleasant. It's actually awesome that you don't have to watch commercials if you live stream it on their website. I don't know why it's like this. You would think they would just barrage you with ads as much as possible. But no, it's the exact opposite. You get this like commercial break. It's so pleasant. It's actually really nice. At least that's the case on like FS1 and ESPN. I don't know about CBS or NBC. Those are different, but I don't know why, but like they shut that shit down. Of course, Devontae Smith scores a touchdown. The guy I'm fading the hardest obviously gets in the end zone. Of course that happens. But yeah, commercials suck, man. I don't know about y'all, but I use YouTube Premium. I will never go back to the standard YouTube. It's totally worth it. You get YouTube Music for free. It's like $13 a month, which isn't like great, but it's not egregious. And for the amount of YouTube I actually watch to have not a single ad ever, I think is totally worth it. Like YouTube would piss me off if I got all of the ads without YouTube Premium. I think YouTube Premium is one of the wisest investments to make if you watch YouTube more than like even 30 minutes a day. I think you're saving so much time if you actually pay for YouTube Premium. The ads on there are so annoying. For $13, it's worth getting none. But I'll do one last Wildcat, I think, and then I think I'll log off. But maybe we do a different lobby. Fucking online streaming is where it's at. Instead of paying for cable, just use your parents' account. Okay. Okay, this is a different tournament. We could also do this one. I have a bunch of Wildcat teams. Maybe I do the hurry up instead. Or we can do maybe one of the 12-person ones. Nah, for $15, I don't think it's worth it. I'd rather just stick with a $3 tournament. I'm gonna, instead of the Wildcat, we'll pivot over to the Hurry Up. It's literally the same tournament, just it's a smaller player pool, so you have higher odds of actually advancing. And because I'll have a different team, maybe I can redraft one I've already done. So this will be the last one. I'll log off. If you want to join me, we're in the Hurry Up $3 6-person draft on Underdog. And then I'll log off. This will be the end of the live stream. But thanks y'all for sticking with me. Appreciate it for hanging out. If you still have any questions, obviously let me know. But we got 2 spots left. We're just waiting for this to fill. And then we will draft that team and log off. But P Talent says another one, second flex spot is Tet, Dowdle, Harrison, or Carter. Tet, Dowdle, Harrison, or Carter. Definitely not Carter. I think it's between Tet and Dowdle for me. I have Tet 1 spot above Harrison. Harrison coming off the injury scares me just like a little bit. But Tet, I think, has a good matchup, so I have him just above. And then the only decision is, would you rather have Tet or Rico Dowdle? I think I'm going to go Rico Dowdle, though. I think Rico Dowdle's a little bit safer. That Bucks matchup is really good. They can't really stop anyone on defense. And I think Dowdle has a little higher upside. I'm going to go Rico Dowdle. I think a safer floor, higher upside. If it was full PPR, then maybe I'd go Tet, but I think Dowdle is a little bit safer than Tet McMillan. 1 spot left. If you want it, come and get it. We are in the Hurry Up $3 tournament on Underdog, and this draft will be underway very shortly with only 1 spot left. But it is in full PPR, then yeah, maybe I go Tet, because you're probably getting like 9 targets for Tet this week. Dowdle may only get like 1 reception. So that covers a lot of ground with the catches. Oh, sweet. JCM is looking good. That one's really close, man. But I think the previous logic still kind of holds. Like the floor, I think, is safer with Dowdle, and then you still have high upside, but then Tet becomes a little bit more interesting in full PPR. It's a true toss-up. I think I'm gonna go Rico Dowdle still. I think barely I'm gonna trust Rico because I think he's more likely to find the end zone, and then if Tet doesn't score, then that would totally negate any of the PPR advantage. So I think let's bet on the touchdown primarily. I'm gonna go Rico Dowdle. I like his matchup a lot, and he has had that like elite 30-point upside this year. Like when Rico goes off, he wins you the week. When Tet goes off, he's still kind of a liability, still a little touchdown dependent, even when he has a good game. So, yeah, I'm going to go Rico Dowdle there. Good luck, man. Seems like you agree, and very close call, but I think Dowdle has the higher upside. Funeral Snacks, good to see you, man, as well. And this lobby did fill. We filled the lobby. We got pick 5. We're in here with Lutz. Albie's in here as well. Fishbone. Bro Rhinoceros Flex. And Little Stroik. Right behind me at pick 6. All right, pick 5. That's different than what we've had so far. I've had a lot of early picks. And we'll see how this one goes. But watch me end up with like the same team. Watch me end up with another Falcon stack. Just because I can't quit on Kirk Cousins. But Mariota just gets sacked. Swallowed up. It's sad what happened to Mariota. Mariota had so much promise entering the league. I thought he'd be a good player. Same with Jameis Winston. It's strange that there's like a 4-year like generation of quarterbacks that all just suck. Like Andrew Luck retired. RG3 retired, Cam Newton retired, and then the only ones like remaining in that stretch are like I don't think Russell Wilson still qualifies for that tier, but like there's a wide range of quarterbacks that should be in their like mid-30s right now. They're just inactive and retired, and it's unfortunate that they're not available. But this is tricky. I'm going to go Trey McBride. I trust the tight end one more than Achane, to be honest with you. Like, Achane should be great, but to bet on Quinn Ewers, I think, is hard to feel confident in. And then here, maybe I do go Bucky. I do like Bucky a lot this week. Good matchup. Let's go Bucky. We were in the draft earlier with Daniel Hovland, I believe. Yes, and he went Bucky. And this is the only reason why I wouldn't take Bucky at number 1, because you can do another one, get pick 5, and then get Bucky in round 2. That's the only reason I don't think I would take Bucky at number 1, just because I want the exposure to Gibbs and Bijan. Not that I think Bucky can't crush, but I think just because you can get him later, that's the only reason I wouldn't do it at pick 1. But I do like Bucky this week. Don't get it twisted. Bucky should have a good game against Carolina. Can you believe that this man is still playing? It's pretty wild. And they almost won last week too. That was crazy. They didn't win because of him, but they stayed in the game. That was impressive. As a Charger fan, that did warm my heart a little bit to see Phillip Rivers nearly winning an NFL game in 2025. Pretty awesome. But Zoe Pettigrew, what is the likelihood T. Higgins and Woody Marks will suit up this week? I would say for both of them, less than 50-50, but individually, they're both at like 60-70%. They're both probably going to suit up, but for both of them to be active, I would say it's just shy of like 50%. I'll go back to London. I know London is like injured and stuff, but he's going to play. He's expected to come back. And if you told me he was fully healthy to start the week, he would be like a top 5 pick at the position. He'd definitely be going over Olave, Pickens, maybe even Michael Wilson. I feel like London's going too low in this. Um, like I did take Pitts. That probably is good for me. I mean, I like Metcalf a lot. We already have a tight end. I'll go DK Metcalf. Could have gone Chase Brown there for sure, but Bengals got weird vibes right now. Let's go DK Metcalf. I think that Lions game is going to be really good for him. It gives us another potential stacking partner with Rodgers, but I'm going to be looking to Brissett here. If I can get Brissett with the next pick, I'm going to do it. Only question is what will we do with the final pick? Not quite sure. But okay. After we take Metcalf, we see Fannin go off, Kelsey and Bowers. So a run on the tight end position. The team with Pickens goes with Prescott and Judkins. Ooh, trusting Judkins this week. That's tricky. Their O-line is so banged up. I know the volume is good, but last week was bad. Matchup's good, though. It's hard to trust Bucky, but on paper it should work out. I mean Judkins, not Bucky. ETN goes. I feel like ETN's also being slept on in this tournament. Going a little too low. Chase Brown would fall back, potentially. Damn. And I can pass on him if he's there, because the team behind me has to go with a receiver and quarterback. I can play the board and pass on Chase Brown here if I want. Damn. But I don't think I'm going to take him here. It doesn't correlate as well. I'm going to go Brissett. Prevent the team behind me from sniping him. As much as I like Bo Nix a lot this week and Goff as well, we have Trey McBride. Harrison comes back. Good matchup against the Falcons. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go Brissett. He's just so reliably productive. And we get the stack. And then here, am I really going to go Chase Brown? I don't think I'm going to go Chase Brown. I think I'm going to go Rico Dowdle, honestly. The upside of Rico Dowdle is just through the roof. And I know Chase Brown is tempting, but he's been a little capped. Like, he's a great floor play generally, but just a little bit capped sometimes. Yeah, let's take a swing. That Bucks defense sucks. Let's go Rico Dowdle. Some correlating bets here between Bucky and Dowdle. If that game's a back and forth, like, running back shootout, wouldn't shock me at all. So, super tempting to go Chase Brown, but pretty much everyone passed on Chase Brown. I'm not the only one. Maybe this team with Burrow takes him, though. No, they go Michael Carter. What the fuck? Michael Carter over Chase Brown. That's crazy. That is insane. I would never do that. Watch it be right. Watch it be the correct pick. But holy shit, I would never do that. But it's DFS. Anything can happen. You only got 6 picks. Do what you want. Who am I to criticize? But Michael Carter doesn't feel like a good pick in this at all. Funeral snacks, big night for Emmanuel Wilson. If Jacobs doesn't play, is that the updated news? Let's find out. I don't think it's late enough in the day yet to know. Jacobs still listed as questionable. Updated 3 hours ago. He's pushing to play. Josh Jacobs, I think, will suit up. According to Ian Rappaport, legit NFL reporter, there's been no firm and final decision, but my understanding is Josh Jacobs wants to play tonight, and generally when he has wanted to play, when he has been pushing to play, he has been out there. Of course, a huge game tonight, so don't be surprised if that happens, assuming warm-up goes well. That's the thing. This game is for the division, basically. They need the win. I think as long as he can play, he will. And as long as he's on the field, then I would start him. But, oh, then there's an update here. Packers Insider believes Jacobs is more doubtful than probable. Okay. But Jacobs will push to play. There's no doubt about that. Okay, so, yeah, until we're 2 hours from now, until we hit like 4:30 p.m. Pacific, maybe 5, we're just not going to know. Maybe not that long. Maybe just an hour and a half from now. Oh, it's almost 3. Yeah, give it another hour and we'll know. But if Jacobs doesn't play, then yes, I would say Wilson does have a big game. Definitely a top 20 running back if Jacobs is inactive. You should... Oh, great move, man. Absolutely worth it. Good stash. Levy says, do I start Moore, Jennings, or Jefferson? Oh, fuck. Right, I already finished this team. I almost forgot that I had that team going. I have DJ Moore at number 13, and I have Juwan Jennings at 14 in my rankings. Jefferson, I have at 39. So I'm going to be benching Jefferson. I think DJ Moore is worth the start because of the injuries to the other receivers, but I also really like Juwan Jennings this week as well. That Colts matchup, though, is a bit tough for touchdown production, so I do prefer DJ Moore. I'm going to go DJ Moore, but I want Juwan Jennings in the lineup as well. Juwan I have as a top 15 receiver, so I think you should be starting Juwan Jennings. If you can, I think he's worth it. But, all right, that's going to be it. We are officially done for the live stream now, and appreciate everyone that stopped by, everyone that hanged out. This was awesome. And yeah, good luck. I'll be posting some videos later on. Now I got to record the injury updates video, and look out for that in a few hours. So peace out. Good luck, everyone. Hope you get the win, and I'll see you next time.